Hello, 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 YouTube. How's everybody doing today? It's the last day of the week, last episode of the week for Real Talk Therapy with your girl, Ebony. Thank you guys for sticking it out with me this week and being here as we continue to have these real talk conversations about real life issues and things that we all deal with at some point in our lives. And we've started this week going into addictions and exploring those in different ways. And I kind of jumped the gun a little bit yesterday with the 5 stages of change, but we'll wrap it up the way we need to wrap it up, and we'll start it out fresh next week. So like always, let's get into our shirt for today. So our shirt today says flawed but solid, and we'll get into where and how that creation came about, and what it means to me, and I'll share that with you. And of course, let's get this thing together for our bag for today. Coach, little baby blue, powder blue. Again, like I said, when Coach comes out, my plug, make sure whatever's coming out at that time that, is exclusive, we get it. So Coach, y'all holler at your girl, because I even got some stuff y'all don't even put out anymore. So holler at your girl. So your bag for today. And again, as I'm trying to explore, y'all, I'm gonna go down here, see if we can't catch the shoes for the day. So I call these Rainbow Brights, but they are Nike Vapor Max, and you guys have seen those. Again, full of colors, so they pretty much match and go with a majority of everything that you can have and to go with. And so today I'm actually in our t-shirt room, or what we call the lab, where these t-shirts are created. And just wanted to okay, so I threw my remote, of course. Don't know where it went, but anyway, oh, there it is. Okay. So stated here today for today's video, because as we wrap it up for this week, I want to talk to you guys about being able to recognize when you need help, and when you ask for that help, how to be able to utilize that help. And we're going to come from a perspective today when we use our GPS. So we all know that when you've been somewhere before, or even if you've never been anywhere, you got a habit of using your GPS. And the GPS, you put in the directions or whatever, or the address of where you're going, and you follow the directions of the GPS. And oddly enough, if you ever pay attention, the GPS will give you about 3 different ways to get where you're trying to go from wherever you are. And it usually says the fastest route, and then it gives you some alternative routes to get there. Now, no matter which one you choose, supposedly, if you follow the GPS, you're going to get to your destination. The problem with that, with some of us, is we'll put the GPS on and we'll start going, and things starts looking familiar. Now, first and foremost, if we're honest with ourselves and if we're real, a lot of us choose the fastest route. We want to get where we're going as quickly as possible, not knowing what may lay ahead of us on this fast route, not knowing if there's, traffic backed up, if there's an accident, if the road is messed up. And if any of you guys were out traveling, last week after Hurricane Helene hit, and my husband and I, we were in the mountains, so we had to get home, not knowing which way to go because roads were washed out. We didn't know what highway was what. We just know how we get where we want to go to. And we've been so much that we've gone a couple of different ways. And so as we were coming home, we didn't have cell service. We couldn't rely on GPS. And so we both had to kind of rely on each other to get home. We were not going to be stuck up there. We were determined to get home. And so, that Sunday, as my husband was packing the car and getting stuff together, people were telling him, hey, y'all need to go this way, go to Atlanta, do this, do that. So we're listening to people. And then we realized, okay, the news said Atlanta is underwater. So what sense would it make for us to go into an area where people were trying to get out of? And so, like we said, we started driving. And, ironically, that Sunday when we were getting ourselves together, he had cell service. It was limited and spotted, but he had cell service. I still had none. So I'm with Verizon. He's with AT&T. So we had enough to put in where we wanted to go. Now, what shocked us was the GPS said, I can't even give you no information because of the flood. So if your GPS can't even tell you which way to go because of, unexpected weather, because you think about it, who ever would have thought that the flood, Western North Carolina, would be underwater? These are the mountains. So you think about, if it's flooding below, you want to get high. But there was so much devastation there. And again, our hearts and prayers go out to all of the people in Buncombe County, Asheville, North Carolina, all up that way, Western North Carolina, period. Our prayers, especially Asheville, still underwater. People still have no power, and they still have no cell service today. And Helene came through late Friday and Saturday. But at any rate, we both relied on our sense of direction, what looked familiar, let's go this way. And we got up out of there and we made it home safely. But if we had to rely on the GPS, we would still be out there riding because the GPS couldn't even tell us which way to go. But in most circumstances, that GPS is going to give you the fastest route to where you're trying to go and a couple of other ways to go. So when it comes to our mental health, when it comes to an addiction, when it comes to needing help to navigate through our uncharted waters, sometimes you got to reach out and ask your GPS. And your GPS can be your support network. Remember, we talked about your cheerleaders. Those people who are going to give you some sense of direction to the best of their knowledge, because they may or may not know what you need to go through, but they're on your side, they're in this boat with you, and they're trying to help you navigate through whatever you're struggling with. So you have the choice to listen to your support systems, to listen to the directions that they may be giving you, but you also have to be in tune with where you know you want to go. We knew we wanted to get home. And people were telling us different ways to do it, but they didn't know where home was. GPS Siri couldn't tell us because she couldn't gather, or the artificial intelligence, or whatever you want to call it. People say the government, I don't know, but I do know that if you start talking about something and then you start searching your phone, it comes up. So, hey, whatever that is, it was unable to get us home. So sometimes you have to rely on the ways that you've gone before or the things that you know. What you know plus a little help can definitely help you get where you're trying to go. And just yesterday, I work out of town sometimes and I have to go to different places, and I've been to these places time and time again. But just yesterday, I'm on my way home from somewhere that I travel to a lot. And I always tell my husband or anybody, I don't know the name of the highway. I just know the way to go. But for some reason yesterday, instead of me relying on my GPS and following that GPS, I got to kind of a crossroad and I'm like, you know what? GPS is saying get off, but I don't need to get off. I'm going to go straight. Please don't miss this. This is somewhere I've been before. Several times by myself, back and forth. Had no trouble, had no issues. But all of a sudden yesterday, I decide when I get to a crossroad and the GPS is telling me to go to the right, I think I'm supposed to keep straight because it looked familiar. So I'm riding, and then it doesn't look familiar anymore. So now I want to turn on the GPS again. And the reroute took me an hour and a half outside of, the 2.5-hour trip that it would have taken. So now instead of 2.5 hours, I'm going almost 4 hours to get home. Needless to say, I'm on the phone with my husband and he's talking to me and we're having a conversation. But the more I rode, the more I went, and the more I followed the GPS this time, I started to panic. My heart started to beat a little fast, and I felt the anxiety because nothing about this route to somewhere that I've always gone looked familiar to me. Had my husband on the phone, could have simply asked, hey, the GPS says do this. Should I go that way or whatever? We're talking about whatever. And I made a conscious decision to go a way that I thought I should have gone without using any help. And so my uncharted waters took me through some back roads, took me through some places in the state of North Carolina where I have lived all my life, where I have never been. Cell service choppy. Did I need? No, I had got gas. Thank God for that, because I guess I didn't need gas. But now I'm back. I need to use the bathroom. So you got to find somewhere to stop and use the bathroom where you feel safe. I'm a female. I'm by myself. And again, don't get it twisted, because your girl not scared, but I'm cautious. So, I'm paying more attention to my surroundings now than I ever did before. And I started kind of thinking I was going to come out a certain place out on 74, but I wasn't quite sure. So, we're talking, riding. And when I put that GPS back on this time, I followed it. And even when I started to see signs that looked familiar, like, oh, I know this town, but the GPS is saying go to this town that you ain't never heard of before, I followed it. And eventually I made it home. And I said that to say that that's what relapse looks like. Whenever you have developed a new pattern, you started avoiding the people, places, and things that had you doing those things that you were addicted to, that had you falling into those same patterns of no good results, negative stuff, nothing good happening for you, getting lost, not being able to find your way through something that you know your way through. When you've worked a program, when you've done 12 steps, when you've been clean for a day or 2 or 3, when you've made that progress, and all of a sudden you want to go a different way because you've done this and you think it's okay and you think you're good, but now you've lost your way. And you got to kind of go back to those coping strategies. You got to go back to those things that helped you to make that progress. You got to go back to your cheerleaders. Because the whole time my husband is in my ear saying to me, you're going to be all right. You're going to get here. It's just going to take you a little longer. It's all right. What you stressed about? You still got the GPS to follow. And if push came to shove, he was coming to get me. So you have to know that when you're struggling with your addiction, when you're struggling with your mental health, when you're struggling with your self-esteem, when you're struggling with thoughts that, carry you places you don't want to go, when you're at your lowest point and you decide that you're going to do something different, that you can still find your way to where you need to be. You just have to be determined to follow whatever you rely on to be your GPS, whatever's going to guide you to that place, because sometimes we just can't get where we need to go or get where we need to be on our own. All of us need help at some point in our lives. Everybody could use a little help, no matter who and or what you might need a little help with. And so I just want to say to you guys this week that you can always rely on your support system. You can always rely on those things within yourself that lets you know I might be flawed, but I'm solid. You know, I'm built for it tough, as people can say. I'm gonna make it. Now, for a minute, I fell back. I fell short. I went back. I had 3 days clean, and then I used it again. So what? Get up and have 3 more days. Try it again. Do what you need to do again. Now, will I ever try to go that route that I went today? I didn't enjoy that ride at all. And that's what happens with addiction. Sometimes you fall and you don't enjoy falling down or getting lost or not being able to find your way at all. So when we don't enjoy those things, now we got to look for ways to make it easier for us. And the next time that I make this trip, I'm going to rely on my GPS and go the way it's telling me to go until I reach the destination where I'm going. And then I'm turning around and I'm coming back. It's not hard. And none of us know it all. You remember the first couple of episodes when I told you about a know-it-all that knows nothing at all? Even though it's something I've done time and time again, I still needed help. And so I say to you guys today, as you're moving into the weekend to do your self-care, you know, those activities where it's just you, figure out what you want to do. If it's reading a book, watching some Ratchet TV, and I shouldn't say Ratchet, but it is Ratchet TV. Ratchet reality TV is what it is. I done started back looking at the old Love and Hip Hop, just because. But some of the stuff is good and coming out of that, but it's a coping mechanism and it's some self-care stuff for me, you know, and it's something I enjoy doing. And so you've got to find those things that you enjoy doing. Being in the lab, being in the t-shirt room is something, you know, that we enjoy doing. We do it, you know, it's my husband's business. It's something that we do. But when you really enjoy creating it and doing it, it is something that, you know, you end up wanting to do. Find your niche, find your craft, but find your way. Store those coordinates into your GPS and then share that information with your support systems, with your cheerleaders, so that next week when we jump into those 5 stages of change and what they look like for someone who's going through an addiction. And remember, you can relapse on mental health as well. You know, you can have breakdowns. You can have what's called manic episodes and things in mental health as well. And we'll talk about all of that next week. But until then, I want to thank you guys once again for liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting. It means the world to me. And earlier this week, I want to thank the ones again that just get on here and look at what I'm saying and think I'm saying something, or you think you get ready to get on here and find out something other than we doing good over here. And we helping people over here. We having conversations. So don't get on here looking for, I don't know what y'all looking for. And, but if you're going to be looking, subscribe for you, girl. Do that for me. Give me a thumbs up and let's let this stuff reach out and hold on to some of this stuff too. Now, I want you to do that as well. Also, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. All cancers have a month, but October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And so we want to shout out to all the survivors and for all the loved ones, you know, that we lost, you know, to breast cancer. But also, you can order some breast cancer t-shirts as well. You'll see some of those designs throughout the month. But again, remember, always, always, always make sure you are doing that work for you and you're doing that work on you so that you can navigate through your uncharted waters. And even when you feel lost, like your girl was yesterday, even when you feel lost, that there's still some help out there to help you find your way. You just got to know who's there to help you and who wants to sit on your boat and watch you struggle. Because there's some people that want to sit and watch you struggle and holding the paddle, and they're not going to help you paddle at all. You got to be able to recognize who those people are. But until then, guys, thank you so much for supporting Real Talk Therapy, for coming through. I hope, it's helped somebody in a very special way. And I look forward to seeing you guys next week. All right. Thanks. Bye-bye.